exciting to see. We'll talk more about it once we get into the game, but Dracos, Origen versus G2, set us up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is it, the G2 super team. Is it going to be everything that was promised? Caps and Perkz together on a single lineup going toe-to-toe with the return of Origen, the power of Deficio and Xpeke combined, those players on the stage. Is it enough? It is the match of the day, folks. Origen blue side, G2 red. Let's get it started.
So, going back to that Karthus pick, before we get into anything else, Spirit did play it earlier in the day up against, on the side of Afrika Freaks against SKT. And one of the cool things about Karthus is that, as Frosk said earlier on, his scaling is fantastic. His jungle clear is very quick, but he doesn't really like skirmishing in the early game. 2v2s are not really his strong suit. He basically just wants to sit in the jungle and farm, and then once the team fights start, due to all his AoE damage and the amount of crowd control he can provide, he is just this really potent team fighter that G2 will have right in their back pocket ready to go.
Which means you now have two options if you're Origen. You need to either skirmish the Karthus and make sure that you can get those skirmishes or those claps on him, or you try to out-gank him in the limited windows that you have before he can start impacting the entire map. Now on a champion like Cold's Gragas, that's certainly possible. Level 2, level 3, level 4, he can gank at all of these different points. It's about what lane he's going to choose.
That's one of the big questions. I really hope that we see investment towards the bot side of the map from the side of Origen. I think that when you're running a Draven, you kind of have to get him ahead. I think Alphari versus Wonder is going to be a very neutral lane. Mid, it's quite unique for me because I've never really seen a Jace versus Cassio matchup, and I could see it being quite challenging for the Jace because his range isn't that long. And as he tries to last hit the minions, you'll often see Nukeduck landing those noxious blasts on him to try and zone him away from the farm, as you're seeing right now. And as Nukeduck gets more levels, this matchup, in theory, should get harder and harder until Caps completes that Hex Drinker.
Now, in the LPL, I see this matchup a lot. That said, it was Rookie's Jace, and Rookie's Jace would normally come out on top in this, but I'm not going to say that that's the standard for how it goes.
Find out more. Cold hitting that level 2 point. Not going to see any aggressive ganks coming out yet. And the Karthus, of course, as predicted, just going to continue to farm up. Took the bottom side of the jungle, now headed to the top. Not interested in going to that river any more than he absolutely has to. But I think, as expected, the bottom side for OG right now, just applying the pressure with the strength of that Morgana Draven. And I like the confidence from OG that they put such a high priority on Patrick to give him such a strong pick.
And it goes back to that, I don't want to say it's like a brainwashing thing that Deficio's running down there, but every time you hear the Origen members getting interviewed, they all say the exact same thing, like it's a brotherhood. It's more than just a team or a family. And it's all just this idea of you've got this young star and Patrick and Alphari, you just have all of these flanking veterans around them and you make sure that they shine. You polish them up. This is going to be Sven 2.0.
And who better to train him than Mithy? Coming back to Europe, big question mark is what his level is going to look like. Of course, an all-star player last time he was in Europe, did suffer a bit. NA, bit of an unfortunate performance there on the TSM lineup, but returning now, spamming solo queue games, as you said, hundreds of games already in the preseason.
Mithy alone has 109 games on a single account on Gragas support of all things. And that's just one of the accounts that I found. This guy is like his fingers to the bone, playing as many solo queue games as possible.
And I'm excited to see what he can bring to the field today. Mithy is a guy that many fans have got question marks around. He didn't have the best performance on TSM. He was kind of in the prime of his career when he was with G2. The moment he left, both G2 and TSM started to struggle. And now they're reunited, but this time on opposite sides of the rift. And I cannot wait to see how this lane continues. So far, things are going in favor of Patrick and Mithy in terms of pressure, but Perkz keeping up in the farm department. And
of course, if you want to keep an eye on Perkz' perspective, you can head over to Riot Games 2 for our POV stream. From the eyes of Perkz, you'll not only get to see Patrick's laning phase, but you get to see Perkz on Zoe in bottom lane. It's a novelty you might not always get to experience. Patrick, though, not interested in giving you a good show. He wants a gray screen stream.
And we do see Jankos heading towards the mid lane, looking for Nukeduck.
All pain does come out, bit of a slow gonna land, trying to stop any dashes from Jace. Nukeduck whole side steps, well played there.
Very impressive stuff from Nukeduck, but I'm looking at this bot lane.
And clearly the, oh, hold on.
Sleepy Mithy, Ignite does go down. We're gonna get a little something here, but Patrick just firing back with these auto attacks.
I really want to go back and praise the target selection for Nukeduck there to hit the Miasma on the Jace, obviously trying to interrupt Jace to gap close and to flip onto Cassio, because that's when a lot of that damage could have come out.
Cold trying to steal away the Gromp, won't have the opportunity to because he recognizes how close Perkz and Mickey are to the jungle area. will mean that he's just now warding around. Is he looking for a potential dive? There's no mana on Mickey. Those are very healthy members, though, against a very strong turret.
I think he's just making sure that they can force this wave in and create space for Patrick and Mithy here. I think both bot laners are going to have a truce and make it back.
And of course, that first back for Draven, gonna have to keep an eye on that gold total to see what his options are going to be. And if so, he can get that lost chapter, get a little bit under a belt. But of course, BF Sword an option for Patrick. That does make for one terrifying Draven.
And we did see Hansama start off on the right foot with Draven just last game, get a very early kill. But obviously, Draven would like to sit in there, get his stacks a little bit more, you know, a little bit more farm and more bang for your buck when you do decide to kill someone.
So there's the Hex Drinker now completed for Caps. The Vamp Scepter also being picked up for Patrick, I like quite a lot. And I think that in terms of the mid lane matchup for the time being, it's going to be relatively neutral. You can see that Nuktuk is a little bit behind for the time being. The fact that Caps can rely on his auto attacks to push, I think has helped him in these early stages, but now that Nuktuk has that mana that he can spam, he's in a much healthier situation.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's going to completely change the trade dynamics now that he doesn't have to use his mana just to secure the last hits and can instead try to use it to bully Caps, where it's like you're saying Caps needs to go into melee form if he wants to have the same beneficiary.
And honestly, I'm just glad to see a battle between two strong individual mechanical champions, between two of the best mid laners in our league. No doubt, G2, you know, winning the offseason almost with a single pickup as they managed to grab Caps. Fantastic stats across summer as we do see the banding land, and the comparison between the two is just so interesting. Caps' numbers, out of this world. 14 solo kills. Now, admittedly, a lot of those were on Sir Nuke's Zyra from that single game. He got about, I think, 6, but still impressive numbers across the board.
He just goes to show how strong Caps was last split, and you kind of compare that across to Nuke, who statistically never really looked the strongest, but he is a player, tends to offer a lot more outside of just the in-game.
And it's hard to kind of find the tangibles of what that means, but for me, it's a lot of the invisible pressure, and again, that veteran status. Every time you talk to the OG members, they seem to have the same framework of mind. They're all moving to the same direction. They knew who they wanted. Nuke, mechanically very strong, but it's more about his presence in team fights, his presence around the map, and his presence of how he's guiding his teams in comms.
But also just the amount of experience and knowledge that he has, especially a bit of a fight down bot lane.
Stannis had already used botting, is going to connect. Immediate cleanse comes out from Mickey. Does not want to let that action continue. And Perkz now trying to fire back. Not going to connect there, though.
But yeah, going back to the mid lane, it's funny because when I speak to Deficio, we know that the Year of the Duck was largely set up by him last year, but he has nothing but praise for the guy. The fact that he's a very knowledgeable player that offers a lot of insight and is very valuable at teaching the other team members stuff that, you know, you just don't need to rely on coaching staff for. He's just so smart, and he works very well with Andre, who they have as a head coach, to kind of level up the entire team. So that's one of the big values that Nuke has, and why so many pro players have so much respect for him, even if he can't always showcase it from a stats perspective.
And you see the member on the team that people expect to be leveled up, and that is Patrick, a young player by comparison to the rest of these veterans, and doing well so far up in CS in this lane matchup, making good use of this champion that they picked to be lane dominant. And now not afraid to get aggressive here. I think he stopped in his tracks, but may look for the re-engage. Unfortunately, just takes so much damage there waiting for that black shield to wear off.
Oh, that's a big ulti use from Perkz. Mithy looking for engage.
Wants to run it in. The ignite does go down. There's the ulti coming out. First blood does go over to Mithy, but now Patrick wants to follow up. Ulti coming down from the Karthus. Mithy knows he's dead. Trading back on the side of G2.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't have the heal there. Used it previously in the fight before the Karthus ultimate even came down. And it is a 1-for-1 trade, but a huge win for Patrick.
Patrick and Mithy just secured first blood against the G2 bot lane. Perkz and Mickey, they got outsmarted in that 2 versus 2. Mithy got so close, and it looked like he was going to land that binding onto Perkz. Immediately turned his attention onto Mickey. He still had his flash. He couldn't react in time, and it allowed OG Patrick to pick up that kill.
And it's about how well they're playing around the windows. Perkz is throwing all of these skill shots, and every single time they miss, Patrick and Mithy were always in position to punish.
And now Mithy's in position to punish once more. Binding not going to connect, but Caps is running for his life. They're going to back off, taking half his health in the exchange there. Good to get out, but aggressive play coming in from Mithy as he moves into mid.
I like to see this from Mithy, roaming around the map, looking for opportunities to help his team. He rushed the boots of mobility, and it's something that all supports will do a lot more these days. Rather than just go straight back to the bot lane, we'll look to work with the jungler to see if they can utilize some kind of pressure somewhere on the map, maybe get a bit of vision down, and maybe even convert it into a kill.
And always try to change up your gank paths. Mithy tried that from the bottom side, but try ganking through top. It's more often not ward is off.
So keep your eyes on what Mithy does here. He walks up to Perkz, makes it look like he is his target, immediately turns on to Mickey. He wasn't expecting it, and if it wasn't for the Ignite, maybe OG walk away with 2 kills, but unfortunately, the Requiem is enough to allow the 1-for-1 exchange, and Jankos now, after all that farm, picks himself up a kill.
And honestly, the saving grace for G2 in that exchange is the fact that Mithy got the kill and not Patrick. All that farm, all those adoration stacks, not wasted, but definitely not consumed. So G2, not as bad off as they could have been. Both the Karthus pick and the kill to Mithy kind of saving what could have been a very bad play.
Right now, he's sitting on about 320. Jankos is hanging around.
Is it going to go? Trying to find the knock up. Blocked up! Sonya's comes out. Now looking for the fire back. Mithy is even taken down. Has he gone too far? A sleepy Draven. Not going to be able to back that one up. Patrick, though, still hungry for blood. And ladies and gentlemen, NA Mithy is dead. EU Mithy is back, at least on the back of those first few bindings. He is looking clean.
And Cold is looking for the 3-pointer right now. He just wants Mickey to step forward so he can dunk on him.
But that interrupt from Patrick was clean. I don't know if that was reactionary or just luck, but regardless, it stopped the engage from Mickey dead in its tracks, and it meant that OG almost got themselves a kill. At the very least, it will net them 3 turret plates, and OG's bot lane looking good.
Looks like we're gonna get a replay of it, so...
I think it was definitely in advance because he wanted to interrupt Mickey as he was trying to escape. It was just convenient timing that he was trying to engage at the same time.
Doesn't matter, looked cool.
Definitely
looked very cool. I gave credit to Mithy, I was wrong. Patrick, powerhouse here on the bottom side. Gets the Bloodthirster as well, so going to be very hard for Perkz to poke him out. They're going to have to commit for a little bit more if they actually want to cut through the Draven. And of course, the Ignite not available quite yet for Perkz, so very difficult to pull anything off.
And unfortunately, while Karthus can walk down there, Jankos can use the Wall of Pain. He can try to make those ganks work. We just saw the attempt there. That's not really what he wants to do. Back to Vedius' point, Jankos wants to sit in his jungle, and he wants to continue to farm up, get more items, get more to his defining ability to be that ultimate. So unfortunately for Perkz and Mickey, there might not be a lot of help coming for them in this bot lane.
It's true. Also, Karthus wants to ult whenever there's a free kill to steal. Alfari now TPing bot, Cold in for the collapse.
Looking for the play here, they have to watch out. Where's the jump going to go from Perkz? Could try to dodge a skill shot here. Is he just going to try to make it out of the wall, but knock back? So much CC comes in, and Mithy going to grab another kill. Bloodthirsty support, man. I can respect it.
They're trying really hard to give these kills over to Patrick to get this Draven snowballing, but they have been unable to do so as of yet. Now, there are 4 members down towards the bot side. That TP from Alfari was necessary in order to secure the kill, but what will they lose off the back of it?
And it means that they really need to be conscientious of what they're trading here. So it keeps going back to this idea that Mithy's picking up the kills and he needs to go to the ADC. It's almost a bit more punishing because now Alfari is also trading the experience, the gold, the tower damage, the plating to try to make these plays.
As we take a look back at this one, you can see Perkz landing a clean bubble, but of course, TP committed here, willing to give up a lot just to stop this lane from getting anything else further. And just, I like that we said, OG, you got this bot lane to play around, and they're just doing just that.
And Cold, the reason why he didn't barrel so early is because he actually used it to get into the Dragon Pit, so that G2 wouldn't be able to spot him as he made his approach towards the bot lane. What I would like to bring attention to is when we actually look at the gold, both Patrick and Mithy are ahead, but all the gold for G2 sits on Jankos right now. He has been doing a great job of farming, and he's kind of that late game insurance for G2. Even though the laning phase isn't going the way that G2 would have liked, he's going to offer this late game team fight damage that will just be so beneficial for G2 the longer this game goes on.
And now we need to zoom out and kind of look about how this composition works. When you have a Zoe and when you have a Jace, obviously Poke is going to stand out, but now put a Karthus on top of that. If one of these bubbles lands, if one of these shock blasts land, and you half health anyone, at a certain point, Karthus is just going to finish the job, and you don't even get to be interactive in any team fight.
At this point, that's exactly what they want. Of course, Perkz here playing it out in the bottom lane. You can watch his perspective on the POV stream. Over on Riot Games 2, we can see now what he's doing, where he's clicking, how he's going to survive this lane.
He actually clicks very far away from his champion.
Interesting.
I mean, normally when you watch Faker, his mouse is much closer to his champion. It helps him actually keep track of where his champion
Was
is.
Faker at Worlds?
That was what I was going to say.
Maybe clicking farther away is just better, Frost.
To get lost in a team fight, click closer to yourself.
What I will say now is that it's a lot easier for Perkz to manage the wave, given that he's completed both the Blasting one and the Lost Chapter. His Q actually does damage now, which means that it's much more difficult for OG to siege onto that bot tower. Fortunately, for both teams, no towers have dropped just yet. The goal is still even though OG have the kill advantage. And again, it comes back to Karthus and Wonder, holding on to pretty healthy CS advantages, along with that kill that he was able to pick up.
And a big question going into this game was, would OG be able to hold their own up against this new G2 lineup? And for now, things are looking good. Patrick has to be careful, though. Karthus is here in the midst of everyone. Cold needs to get that Karthus away from his team. And they're going to back off, just looking for the disengage here. Neither team looking to take that fight.
I like the fact that OG don't want to overcommit because they know that Karthus has the Requiem available. So you can't go super low health trying to chase these kills and then just get punished across the board. That said, it still feels like onus is on OG of how they want to play around this bot lane and finally crack this tower.
Right now, Mithy just wants to kill people. They're looking for the engage. The TP has now been committed. Patrick has finally gotten that catch out. They're running. Jankos is here. Wonders in the midst of everyone. They knock that Karthus right away. Alti's going to come out, combine it with the Urgot. But Mithy with the perfect stopwatch to deny both Altis is not quite enough. The root coming through. Wonder now could just go down. Nuke potentially going to look for the engage here. Eyes on the Cassia. Where it's going to go. Cold is so incredibly low. Caps swap form is maybe look for the extended shock blast. Not going to have the cooldown.
Nuke does have the ultimate, but there are so many low health members on the side of Origen. I think they just have to abandon the turret and get out of here.
And I said that onus was on OG, but G2 strike back. They throw everything in the kitchen sink into this bot lane and try to force this tower.
Ooh, Mithy. So
go to
low.
base,
Nukeduck's
Mithy.
moving down. Just uses the black shield just to make sure that Nukeduck is safe. Sion, meanwhile, is on the top side taking a tower.
By the skin of their teeth, no one died there.
Whew. Close one. Still, well, didn't Origen actually pick up a kill? Oh yeah, because it started off by them collapsing onto Perkz. And, you know, you talked about it earlier, Drake, because NA Mithy is gone, EU Mithy back. Flash binding. Perkz didn't have time to react to it, and this is the second binding that we've seen Mithy land at point-blank range. Look at him go. Flash in, secures, even though the ulti came out from Perkz, it wasn't enough. And all that extra gold, I believe that was 1,200 gold goes onto the Draven.
And then it's party in the bot lane as this will continue for probably the next 30 seconds, and we're going to zip right out of
And
it.
now the Rift Herald taken as well can be used to break that top lane instantly if they want to, but OG starting to build themselves a 1K gold lead, can look to get more, but they have to be careful. Immediately the engage comes in. Goodbye, Patrick! You got to play lane phase, buddy, but you got to be a little bit more careful when you walk into that mid lane.
And this is where G2's composition is really going to shine. A mid-game poke-oriented comp. They hit you with one of these abilities. If one of those bubbles tags, the shock blast is immediately going to follow through. They will very quickly delete members and then use the numbers advantage to pressure objectives on the map.
And immediately, or just like that, G2 have closed the gold gap. It is now even between the two teams. And what was looking good for Origen, it feels like G2 always have an answer. And that's what makes it so exciting. Many people were excited about how these two teams would compete. Some people had doubts around Origen. Some people didn't believe that Perkz would be a strong bot laner. But so far, this game is delivering as Mithy looks for another potential pick in the bot side of the map.
For now, settling on clearing out a bit of vision. Perkz going to break down the top lane tower. G2 continuing to keep that gold lead at 1K, and OG yet to break a tower. Bit of standing gold for them to pick up, but now that turret plating has fallen off, hard to get anything more than that.
I actually like, I think this is quite clever from OG. They knew that they were unable to rotate in time to the top lane to save that tower, and instead they secured their vision around the dragon, dropped the Rift Herald, and just tried to trade objectives. Now they might not hit the mid lane tower, but they did enough damage to it.
Done a lot here. One more hit. Is it going to come through? Not going to happen in the end. Shelly. Oof.
They can also fall back to their vision. They've got complete control of this bottom river, which is why they want to fight in it.
Sleepy Trouble Bubbles and Bindings. That's what you got to look out for. Watch for the skill shots to connect. Patrick. This man has a Hex Drinker. The ult is coming out too. The Black Shield's gone, and so is Patrick. Frostgurn, you said it earlier, you said they are not going to interact. They are not looking for the enemy team to push buttons. OG didn't push a single one other than that Black Shield, and you just watched Patrick drop. That is absolutely brutal.
And G2 immediately capitalized, securing themselves another mid lane tower. You know, I was skeptical of this comp at first, but when you see it in action, oh man, it is brutal. Anything lands, any form of damage, the Requiem comes through, and it's more gold onto Karthus, which then makes the Requiem more potent, and this comp just gets more obnoxious and more painful to deal with the longer the game goes on.
And what's crazy is they still then have hyper engage like the Recon, so if that poke lands, you can't run away from it. They will find you, they will chase you down, and they will make you pay.
Look at that.
Ooh. Yeah.
But look at here to Cold as well. The Q into auto from Perkz. Just disappearing. The full AP Gragas hasn't really been able to do a huge amount this game, and Jankos right now really stepping up in terms of being really the cleanup crew for G2.
And when you look at this, G2 just exploded into this game. It was so slow, back and forth. OG felt like they were winning out on some of these trades, but now that Perkz has that first item completed, now the Caps has a few items under his belt, and the Karthus is starting to take off from the farm. they are just so strong. They went from non-existent on this map to killing people left and right.
I just like how proactive. They recognized that while they were struggling in the bot lane that they had a plan about how to fix it. Immediately called down, had all the members once Jankos felt he was strong enough on the Karthus, and then just turned the tides. This was Patrick and Mithy all day styling on Perkz and Mickey early on.
And honestly, it just keeps getting harder as Jankos continues to farm up more and more. 2-0-1, yeah, there's a bounty there, but how are you ever going to get on top of that Karthus? And if you do, are you even excited about that? When he dies, he's just going to kill you.
What's crazy about how much base damage he's doing.
Oh, God.
No! The Red Crim's almost up, Mithy, you gotta get to base! Run, Mithy, run!
This is a nightmare. Jankos is running. He's so quick. He's ready for this. Wonder. Oh, it's going to take...
Mithy, you gotta go!
Oh, no! Here it comes. They're looking for blood. They're chasing him down one at a time. It's not interactive. It's not even fair. So much damage has landed. And OG haven't even gotten to fight yet.
Maybe not interactive, maybe not fair, but boy, is it fun to watch.
So much damage.
Do you remember when you were talking about ARAMs earlier? This is the ARAM Nightmare comp. Turns out in 9-1, it's really good on Summoner's Rift too. You've got the Karthus, you've got the Jace, you've got the Sleepy Trouble Bubble from the Zoe.
You know, I think the only way this comp from G2 could be more obnoxious is if they had a Morgana instead of the Rakan. But now we are. Perkz once again looking
Sleepy
for another
Trouble
pick.
on a cold. Luckily, Requiem is down. It does have a cooldown, so he will be safe for now. Jankos biding his time, waiting for the next one as the Dark Harvest just continues to stack up.
And it's really rough that when you look at OG's composition, their only hard engage is either a displacement barrel from Cold or a Scion ultimate. And if the Scion ultimate goes through, you have the Wall of Pain, so it's actually really easy for G2 to say, yes, Scion, come on in, and then separate him from his team, and then their inability to immediately follow up. So OG's comp, I don't actually know how they want to fight into this. I think that G2 actually have a lot of tools to say that, yes, we're a poke composition, and we make it immediately hard for you to jump anywhere near us. Like, you can't force a fight against them.
You can't walk through a wall of pain to get to the Karthus. Definitely not against a Zoe, definitely not against a Rakan. Vedius, you talked about this Karthus. You said late game scaling, at a certain point, you just lose to Karthus ulting. Have we hit that point? What point are we looking for?
Mate, he has like 1.5 items. he hasn't, he looks like he's foregoing the Morellonomicon and going straight for the death cap. And it's kind of like at that point, which normally happens a little bit later into the game, but he's been farming very well. He's picked up 2 kills, is when these team fights really get scary. And like one of the answers to it is Soraka. That was like one of the old school answers, but also just kind of snowballing an early lead. You never let the Karthus get to that point. Unfortunately, OG, while they had a good bot lane, and while things look pretty positive in terms of the game, they didn't snowball hard enough. And now G2 have got to this point where they can leverage their longer range and just slowly chip away at OG whenever they try to do anything.
And obviously the Soraka interaction is that when you see Karthus start to time up the Requiem, you yourself press Wish, and so you can try to absorb some of that damage that the ultimate's going to do. But because Morgana came out first, the Karthus was a pretty free pickup.
Also, I love that you explained the interaction. So he pushes R, so then you push R, huh?
They told me to explain.
Is he dead?
No, they don't need to push R here, Mithy. Dead.
Oh, no.
He's gone. The engage now coming in as well. The ultimate has now come out. How far will Nuke Duck make it? Trying to run. They're buying time. They're trying to burn him down so the Urgot can bring him back. Is drowsy. Not going to happen. Still asleep. Caps looking for the shot. Perkz not going to find it. Yes, there it is. Rakan flying over the wall to back up Caps. G2 are tearing this team apart.
But did you see that OG Brotherhood? They took a bullet for each other. They were just diving in front of it.
But they can't do anything. They can't play League of Legends. G2 is just constantly keeping them at arm's length. And everything that OG tried to do gets immediately destroyed.
And honestly, Carlos, the reaction, what else can you do? All you can do is laugh after watching a play like that. This is just so disgusting. Outfar and getting a tower back.
That first of the game.
On the board. Not going to be perfect game today, Vedius.
Wow. So this is where things all start. Mithy just doesn't see the Sleepy Trouble Bubble come out. At this point, he's like, guys, I'm dead, just run. But Mickey's like, okay, we can engage this. He lands the ulti, the Requiem comes through. They feel like they can keep chasing. And just look at how far G2 are away, yet they're still able to just blast through Origin.
And just... How many buttons did you see OG push? I just want to refresh for anyone who's watching. How many auto attacks did Patrick get to throw? I think the answer is 0.
They can't get close enough to fight them. This is just like missile fire raining from Fog of War.
Yeah, this is like infantry trying to fight artillery. It just doesn't work. That's not how it goes.
You load up Civ and you've got a catapult.
Of course, the Baron power play with Shell V power. I mean, G2 were already very powerful, so now
I
at
went
this
there
point,
as well.
Yes.
Good one.
And now,
All right, here's the flank from Alfaro. They're trying to collapse onto 3 members.
Patrick might
no!
be overconfident, but this is this debate. Patrick now running for his life. Oh no, here comes the engage from Mickey X. Yankos is there waiting in the wings. Requiem not quite available, but they don't even need it. Wonder now getting the fear. Oh god, it is an absolute massacre. Yankos running down cold. Mana, the only thing that's going to stop him from killing everybody on this lineup. G2 taking their time as they run through this OG lineup. One-man knockup for Alfari, at least it looks cool because it's not going to save his life.
It is not enough as G2 just obliterate OG once again. Ultimate
Cole.
coming out, and that will kill Cole. The
Shot in the
ace
back.
for G2 Esports as Origen crumble.
The minion waves prepped for them up into the bot lane. You now have all 4 members, plus the mid wave being prepped.
And honestly, G2 are the perfect villains right now. They just pulled the quintessential villain move. They said, I'll let you walk away, and then they shot Cold in the back. That is #1 villain classic right here.
Oh,
Storm
man.
base.
And honestly, I feel like for the first 15 minutes of the game, I was like, OG can do this. And then the second this G2 composition came online, it was a game of solitaire for G2. They're just throwing skill shots. There's nothing that OG can do right now, and it's looking grim. Last dance here. Mithy and Patrick against the world as the rest of the team is going to start to respawn. Everyone is up now. Maybe G2 overstep and offer OG a way back in, but nothing's going to happen. Unstoppable Scion looking for the drift. Mickey just goes right over the wall. They're just going to follow up. The shock blast is massive. Mickey with these clutch engages time and time again.
It is just too much damage for OG to deal with. They are too far behind. 10,000 gold is the lead that G2 are currently running with. And look, they can't even get
Caps is hurting
close.
them. He says, you're not getting back to that Nexus, but Nuke ducking out to try to fire back with a kill of his own. Uses the Saros, but Perkz is jumping over the wall. Wonder going in for the kill. Patrick running for his life. Thinks he can juke his way around the base gate. So many low health members, but he doesn't have the ultimate. Here comes Yankos. He flashes forward. He takes down Yankos. Oh, at least he gets the sweet outplay in the end, but it is not enough at the end of the day. The G2 super team making it look so easy as they tear their way to the Origen lineup. Mithy forced to stand in that fountain, but it's not enough to save him. It's just too much, folks. The poke comp, it cuts him down. G2 coming in here with a statement win, throwing their lives into the fountain and a sign of disrespect as they take their first win.
We saw Fnatic